Keep it rap. Yeah, you hit us up and now we owe you something back. Yeah, I hate to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies. My brothers and my enemies. My brothers and my enemies. Yeah, I know hey, yeah. No friends in the industry. I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies. A fact. Let us start a beat, don't wanna keep it rap. Yeah, you hit us up and now we owe you something back.
We're gonna be great, man. I can't wait.
We are back with another Victory Monday! Let's fucking go, even though it was an ugly win. Probably the ugliest win that we've had in a long time. We usually lose those games. Those games are usually big L's. Maybe the Browns win, maybe last year.
Yeah, but not, we thought the Browns would be good, and we had Flacco starting. So it's
true.
It's like the higher the expectation, the more likely we're going to lose,
The New York Jets are 4-3. I'm super pumped. I'm your host, James. Joining me, as always, is my man, Eric.
What's going on?
It's the Fight or Flight podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking all things Jets today. We got tons to talk about between Zach Wilson's performance, the defensive performance, and the struggles. I want to touch on at the end of the show a little of the Francis Ngannou, Mike Tyson Fury fight, and our plethora of injuries, and hopefully some trade talks coming in the next day or two. But yesterday was a massive win. Nothing I enjoy more than beating our crosstown rivals, the New York Giants. I have tons of friends that are Giants fans. I was always one of the only Jets fans that I knew growing up. I didn't know many. It's like you, Nando, and these are all people that I met later on in life. My boy Omar, and then that's about it. I don't know many Jets fans. Everybody else is a Giants fan around us.
They're the Yankees of the NFL, you know what I mean, of our area for the most part.
No question. Luckily I'm a Yankees fan. I'm not just in total misery as a sports fan. I was born put in a Donnie baseball jersey, so I was born into it. And my father had season tickets for the Jets. Very weird combo, but I'll take it. We have some winning, but I'll give up one, maybe even two World Series to see just the Jets appear in a Super Bowl, let alone win one. I'd give up a lot to see the Jets make it to the Super Bowl, and nothing I enjoy more than beating the Giants, sticking it to my Giants friends, telling them all to suck it. Nothing makes me happier, because even when we're bad, like, let's be real, that was one of the ugliest wins ever. We were very, very lucky to get that win. It was one of the most brutal games to watch as a football fan. It was not fun to watch. It was not an enjoyable game. But beating them and telling all of my Giants fans to get fucked makes me so happy. And if we don't make the playoffs this year, I'll be able to say to all the Eagles fans that I know and all the Giants fans that I know that we beat you guys. So as bad as we were this year, we got those W's. And those are small little, as a Jets fan, you kind of realize over the years that you got to take some of those small wins because it's just been so much losing. We don't get many wins in our life. And when we get one or two, I like to enjoy those wins. And this is one of them. Back-to-back Eagles, Giants, beating them. But it was a very disappointing performance, Eric, throughout on all sides of the football. Maybe special teams was good. Thomas Morstead has massive penis energy, just great punts throughout the game. And I truly believe the only reason that we were in that game was not because of our defense, but it was because of the field position battle that we won. And that was all because of Thomas Morstead. It was a great performance by our punter. And I was, cracking jokes with my buddies I was watching the game with yesterday. I was like, he's our best offensive player. He's all we got.
Yeah, he's like a defensive player too. I mean, everyone on the defense needs to go buy him dinner. Because he's setting them up with great field position, allowing them to just attack and, giving them enough space really to operate, because the offense isn't doing a damn thing for our defense. So having him back there, knowing we have a sure kicker, I mean, it just makes everyone's life a little bit easier.
And as good as our defense played, they didn't play well. I'm very upset with the performance of the defense. They had a third-string quarterback, and they didn't throw the ball until the fucking overtime. Until fucking overtime, they didn't throw the football, and they had -9. We almost lost a game where they had -9 yards passing, Eric. Like, that's embarrassing. Like, the fact that we won that game and we still almost lost and they had -9 passing yards is unheard of in 2023 NFL. Like, I can't think of a team that's had negative passing yards in a football game in my entire life.
No, not at all. I mean, I feel like some of it too is that they're on the field the whole time, and they're just defending the rush, and they know it's coming. I think Saquon sort of kind of hit that. When Saquon gets into a rhythm, he's one of the best backs in the league. You started to see him really wake up and he's hitting the holes decisively. He's breaking tackles, and our defense was just getting tired, which I think that was the first time we saw them fatigue all year.
You can't be fatigued coming off a bye week. It's one thing. We got back-to-back tough games, and or a short week, and you're fatigued. But it's an away home game. Like, we're literally not traveling anywhere, and we're coming off of a bye week. You had a full week of rest because of the Eagles win. Woody Johnson didn't make you come into work, and you're gonna tire out. And you want to talk about in the beginning of the season how you want to be compared to the '85 Bears. Now, the points that are being scored against the Jets defense, especially in the second half, is record-breaking in my opinion. But you want to be compared to these defenses, and you have a team that's not throwing the football. They literally did not throw the ball until overtime, and the balls they threw in overtime were extended run plays, swing passes to Saquon Barkley. They were not throwing it. And you allow 133 rushing yards. I don't care who the running back is. It could have been Barry fucking Sanders back there, and you know that they're running the ball every single play, and you still allow 133 rushing yards. That is embarrassing. I'm sorry. It's unacceptable. If you want to be a great defense, we won the game. We got the W. We made some big stops. Quincy Williams again showed that he should be an all-pro linebacker this year. He was all over the field. Breece Huff made some plays. Jermaine Johnson made some plays. But as a unit, as a defensive unit, you should all be going back to that locker room and looking at that stat sheet and seeing 133 rushing yards, knowing the game situation. You should all be ashamed of yourselves. Every single one of you.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not ideal, right? Especially next week we got Eckler coming to town. That's not going to be fun.
No.
I will say this. I think a lot of our run defense changed when we lost Woods, man.
Agreed.
We felt that loss there. Big body. I mean, because they weren't really getting much going early until you felt the momentum shift. This was one of those, like you said, it was just a shit fucking game the entire time. And it was not even just the performances of our players, but it was injury, guy gets carted off. Another injury, guy gets carted off. Huge penalty. Another injury, huge penalty. Drop pass. It was just the most negative, weird game I think I've ever watched. And it was just so just disheartening the entire time. I really did not want to finish watching that game.
You were texting me during the game I quit. I'm done. I can't do this, and I don't blame you, dude. It was miserable. The first half, there was 18 combined punts in the first half.
Yeah. 100%.
Come on! I'll give the Giants credit. They got 2 picks against Tua. They shut down the Redskins, who just put up a bunch of points on the Eagles.
Yeah.
They're playing at a pretty high level. The Giants, I think, have a top 10 defense in the league.
Very possible.
I really underestimated how good their defense actually is. They played really well, and granted, a lot of their big plays are sacks or coverage sacks, or it's just Zach Wilson holding onto the ball, especially at the end of the game when he gave up those 2 sacks at the end of the game. We can't have that. These are the type of things why we want to replace Zach Wilson. But we'll get into Zach and his performance in a minute. But I think that our defense needs to win us these games. Clearly, there's no questioning it at this point. based on our offensive performance. And if you have a team like the Chargers coming in next week, who are a high-powered offense with Keenan Allen, and granted Mike Williams is hurt, but they have their high draft pick in Quincy Johnson or Quentin Johnson. Josh Palmer's playing pretty well, and Austin Eckler is one of the best weapons in football, in my opinion. The guy is a touchdown machine. The guy scores tons and tons of touchdowns, and we cannot expect our defense to shut down this high-powered offense for 4 quarters and us only score 10 points. We can't.
No,
we cannot. We cannot. But at the same time, that's what we need to expect, because looking at our offense, we're not going to score any points, and our defense is going to need to win this game next week. They're going to need to put the team on their back and get some turnovers and slow down their offensive attack and keep them to under 10 points.
I know.
Like, I'm not. This is not a joke. I'm not, saying this tongue in cheek. I'm saying this realistically. We need this to happen, and that's a very tough ask. The Chargers have no defense. They have a awful defense. It's like their defense is equivalent to our offense. You know what I'm saying? That's how bad they are.
Yeah, I mean, it's Bosa and what's his name, Khalil Mack.
That's it,
right? I mean, and they honestly could wreck the game for us considering where our line is at. You know what I mean? So it's like I think our defense needs to get it done. Luckily, the Chargers will be passing the ball. They will pass the ball. Our defense is going to get an opportunity for turnovers. It's going to be one of those games where it's like you got to capture the momentum early and then just kind of break their will. And we win 13-9. We win 13-9. I don't give a shit. But it's going to be one of those momentum games, and that's how the Jets are going to win. And that's how they've won their games for the most part. It's all momentum shifting plays. It's all killing their moral, the other team's moral, like right off the jump. Something, a big stop by Quincy, a big hit, a turnover, whatever it is, and then they just never kind of regain it. We got to use that newfound JETLife Stadium home field advantage and just pour it on. We got to just pour it on.
So we have a couple advantages in next week's game. Not only is our defensive unit much better than their defensive unit, but also at the same time, they're traveling across the country.
Yeah.
No teams perform well when they travel across country. Very rarely, I should say. Not no teams, but very rarely does a team travel across country and play well. It's always a tough matchup for them. You see what's going on in the London games. They're brutal to watch. Like, even the best teams are just not fun to watch. They're not performing at the level that they normally do. So hopefully that will help the Jets as well. But more on yesterday, man. As excited as I am about this win, it feels like a loss almost. It really does. The team performed so poorly, and we couldn't get anything going on offense. We got crushed with injuries. Like, losing, we were playing, and this could be a major factor in the at least the second fumble. The second fumble was definitely on the transfer between the practice squad center. It wasn't on Zach, but. Losing Schweicher or whatever his name is, Schweicher, and losing McGovern. They're both on IR. So McGovern's not on season-ending IR yet. That's still up in the air. They might put him on season-ending IR. They're saying it's possible he comes back. But he dislocated his knee, man.
Yeah.
It's a brutal injury. So I don't expect him to come back. And Joe Tippmann's out still. Hopefully he'll come back sooner than later. But our offensive line is in shambles. The only two people that we have that we're starting are Tomlinson and Mekhi Becton. And Mekhi Becton is one play away from getting hurt himself.
Yep.
Our offensive line is falling apart, and it's really tough to ask Zach Wilson to make plays when he has no one in front of him. But to be fair, that offensive line yesterday played pretty well.
I mean, all things considered, right? I mean, I think, they had 30 pressures or something out of 36 dropbacks, something ridiculous.
Yeah, I really think a lot of those pressures were Zach holding onto the ball too long. I really do.
Could be. I mean, a lot of those pressures are, KT just having a hell of a game. It was just Mekhi, that was a terrible matchup it was just, Mekhi looked like shit.
He looked terrible. I agree.
You know what I mean?
But I watched the offensive plays over, a lot of the offensive series is over again. last night, and a lot of those sacks and those pressures that Kayvon Thibodeau, who last week I was very hard on him being overrated. He had a great game. I'm not taking anything away from him. But a lot of them, they weren't like sacks that he got to the quarterback right away, like the Brees Huff sack where he just was in on the quarterback right away and made a play. It was a lot of like Zach Wilson holding onto the ball, not making a decision, and sometimes even leaving a clean pocket.
Yeah.
He had the happy feet yesterday, and he looked like the Zach Wilson of 2022. He did not look like the Zach Wilson that has been making progress week in and week out. And we were like, okay, he's not playing good, but he's playing better, and that's a good thing. He looked like the old Zach Wilson, and whether that was because he was worried his offensive line couldn't hold up and wasn't trusting his guys, or it's just because stupidly he went back to youth. Like, I don't get it. I get the guys need time off and they need time with their family, but Zach Wilson especially is in no position to go back to Utah with his girlfriend to visit family. Like, he should have flown the family back or had their family take JetBlue, which they probably get free fucking flights on, to New York to hang out with Zach, while Zach spent most of the time in facility getting ready and preparing for the Giants game and trying to get better.
To be fair, though, I think that, yeah, he didn't look as good as we've seen him, but it's kind of par for the course for him, you know? Like, you're expecting him to be a little more, like, to be a little inconsistent. He's our backup quarterback. You know, I don't look at him as the second pick in the draft anymore. He's our backup quarterback, and when you have a guy who's gonna clearly be inconsistent, he's gonna need help. He's gonna need help from the play calling. He's gonna need help from his wide receivers. He's gonna need help from that line. And I'm not like, you know, justifying anything for him or anything like that, but when he does move out of the pocket and make a beautiful throw, and we have no one on this goddamn team that can make a contested catch or just have a clear, and who he has drops too contested. It's like those are those moments where, you know, and Zach's a rhythm guy. Zach is 100% a rhythm guy. You make one big play and he's starting to get rolling, it'll compound, and then, you know, we've seen him do it. We've seen him get better, but you know, you're seeing Conklin drop a ball. You're seeing Garrett drop a ball. You're seeing Brees drop a ball. You're seeing Lazard. That's all he does is drop the fucking ball.
Drop balls all day.
And these are balls that are getting dropped that are like spectacular throws 20, 30 yards down the field that are going to like be huge momentum change shifters.
And some of them aren't even contested. Some of them are right in the numbers, like they should be easy catches. They should be able to catch them in their sleep, being paid the amount of money that they're being paid to catch footballs. 100%. You're absolutely right. Play calling is not good. The wide receivers are dropping balls left and right. But then you have that 3rd and 4 where Zach Wilson had Brees Hall wide open on a flat route and he throws it in the dirt. I'm like, dude, like, I can't get any easier than that throw, and it's an easy move the chains, first down, new drive, get the ball moving. So it is a combination of everything. But Zach didn't help himself at all yesterday. He did not look good. He was not good at decision-making. He made terrible decisions in certain situations, threw balls in the dirt, held onto the ball way too long. And like, it's okay if you do it once or twice a game. But, like, it was so many big situations where Zach needed to get rid of the ball, and he just didn't. So whether that's the play calling or on Zach himself or a combination of the both, it can't happen. We can't come out of a bye week looking that bad on offense and on defense. Like, the guys just didn't perform to the level that we expected them to. And to be fair, I didn't expect them to play well. We're 1 for the last 9, now 2 for the last 10 coming out of bye weeks. So the last 12 years, we've only won 2 games coming out of bye weeks.
Yeah.
Granted, we haven't made the playoffs in the last 12 years either. But at the same time, coming off of bye weeks, the best teams in the league, they spend those bye weeks figuring out what they were having issues with and getting better and improving. The best teams in football, the playoff caliber teams, they make improvements coming out of the bye week. They don't take steps backwards. And I think we took a step backwards coming out of this bye week. We play a good team on all facets of the ball. Even if Tyrod Taylor's in the game the whole game, we probably lose that game.
I don't know if I'll agree with that, because when Tyrod was in and they were actually trying to throw the ball, which really wasn't often anyway, he was getting pressured, and, you know, our guys were blanketing everybody. I mean, like the talent is there, 100%. I think too. I think it was like those big penalties on defense. Like if in the first half we gave them like 80 yards in penalties.
Killer penalties.
Keeping them in the game, keeping their morale high, keeping them like they have a chance. The crowd's getting behind them. It was just the worst. It was like just
we threw a couple of those.
Spiral.
We threw a couple of those great punts by Morstead away by stupid penalties. Stupid penalties. We didn't help ourselves. I mean, that one penalty on the punt by what's his fucking name?
Oh,
Michael
Clemens.
Oh my god.
Offsides.
Dude. Oh my god.
I could not believe that.
I'm screaming at the TV, and I was like, "Oh, we just lost the game." That's that's how the Jets do it. They do stupid things like this. We had them deep in the red zone. We're about to get the ball probably on the 50-yard line or closer, and we just give it away. These penalties need to stop, and this comes along with being a great defense, and this comes with coaching. Like I blame the coaching on the penalties. Like that's coaching. That's telling your guys the situation. Like, hey, do not jump off sides here. We're going to get good field position. Like a block would be great, don't get me wrong. But we don't need it right now. We don't fucking need it.
It's tough.
My point, go ahead.
It's like coaching to an extent, but like how do you what more do you need to say to Clemens on a punt on a punt? We're getting the ball back. You jump it. That right there is he showed his how green he is in the league. His second year in the league for him to be that overzealous. And then you saw the same thing from JJ coming in late on a hit. And then there was another one where you see him diving onto the pile late where I'm like, they're gonna fucking call him on that too. They ended up not, but it was just like immature mistakes.
Yep, absolutely. And I don't blame. I think they called it on Brees Huff on the roughing the passer.
Bryce. Was that him?
Or was it JJ?
It might have been JJ. I just remember being really pissed at JJ. So I'm not sure.
But there was one roughing the passer. Yeah. That was called. That was not a late. It was a bang play.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was Quincy. He got that hit. It was Quincy.
They with the leading with the head. That one you're talking about.
That was a bang play.
Yeah.
And he lowered his helmet. Like that shouldn't have been called. I don't blame Quincy on that penalty at all. But the JJ penalty and the Clemens penalty were absolutely awful, atrocious penalties. But my point with Tyrod is, the reason why I say we lose that game, it's not because I think that he's going to, put points on the board, but like that last drive where they missed the field goal, I think Tyrod moves the ball a little bit further than what they did with DeVito because they're throwing the football and potentially get a closer field goal shot than they had and maybe not miss that field goal. Like, I think the game is completely different if Tyrod Taylor is in the game because they're going to be able to throw the ball in those situations, whereas they weren't throwing the ball at all. With DeVito is completely one-dimensional. So that's why I say it's possible that we lose that game. But we play a team like the Chargers in the same scenario, we lose 10 times out of 10. 10 times out of 10.
We lose bad too.
It's not even close.
Yeah, we lose bad. 100%.
So, we played a good defense in the Giants. I'm going to give them credit. They played very well. Kayvon Thibodeau played I haven't watched his games close enough to say a career day, but one of his best days in his short career so far, in my opinion. He had an awesome outing, made Mekhi Becton look like a scrub, and not a serviceable left tackle, a complete scrub. Yeah. It was just a tough situation. I know the injuries on the offensive line. You have to help. I'm guessing there's more help going towards the center than with Mekhi Becton. The shifts in the line probably were affected because of all of the injuries, which allowed Thibodeau to have one-on-one matchups a lot of the day against Mekhi Becton, who is not an elite left tackle by any stretch of the means, but he's been playing decent. I'll give him credit. He hasn't been bad. Like, he hasn't been a complete liability at the left tackle position, and I'd rather him stay at the left tackle position if Dwayne Brown does in fact come back, which means Dwayne Brown would be depth. But the way things are going with all of our guys getting hurt, we may not have a choice but to shift Mekhi back to right tackle and put Dwayne at left, because you can't put Dwayne at right tackle. 15 years in the league at left tackle.
Yeah. That's such a tough situation.
It really
is. That's such a tough situation because now you're going to throw Makai to the other side. You know he's going to be salty. He's going to go into the games with just that. I'm really big, too, on that, like, being motivated to play is everything, you know? And you see these younger guys, especially these new generations coming up. It's so, you know, superficial, everything. And you're going to move Makai to the right. He's going to be salty. He's going to have a little bit of an attitude. And that's how he's going to get fucking hurt again. And you're going to see it.
He's earned the spot at left tackle in my position.
I agree.
In my opinion, I think he's earned the right to stay at left tackle. He's played at a high enough level to stay there. You know, and hopefully he gets a full year under his belt and we sign him to a, you know, not a monster contract because he doesn't deserve it.
No.
He's not going to get a monster contract from anybody, but sign him to a medium-sized deal and, you know, lock him in for the next 3 or even franchise tag him and lock him in for a year and give him another year to prove himself.
I think you tag his ass. I think the thing is with him, he's not man enough to take one for the team and understand the bigger picture for this season. He wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like he would resist this idea of him shifting down no matter, even though our line is decimated and Dwayne Brown can only play left tackle.
I'll tell you right now, though, we do have one wild card in this situation with Makai that I think would be able to keep him motivated and get him to understand the play. And that's Aaron Rodgers. You know, I think him and Makai have a pretty close relationship. You could see in Hard Knocks, they you know, Aaron Rodgers is a big advocate for Makai and trying to motivate him and get him going and get to the, you know, the potential that we think everybody thinks he has. So I think if, you know, Aaron Rodgers, you know, sits him down and we have to make that move, you know, not coming from the coaches, but coming from a guy like Aaron, which I think he would do, you know, especially after the Cowboys lost and the pointing the fingers, or the Patriots lost and pointing the fingers. And he spoke with the guys and, you know, the camaraderie and the chemistry with the team has gotten so much better since that Aaron Rodgers speech. I think if Aaron Rodgers is like, listen, dude, like we have a shot at making the playoffs this year. We got a shot at making a run, and there's a good chance I'm coming back. Like every week that we see this guy, like he was dropping back and making throws yesterday. It was awesome to see, and every single week that we see him, it's like, all right, well, it's never happened before, but from what I'm seeing, it might happen. Like he might make it back. So if he sits down Makai, like the coaches say, hey, move over, and he gives a little bit of an attitude, it seems like Aaron Rodgers wants that leadership role and is happy to take it. And if he says, hey, Makai, listen, like we're screwed right now. Our injuries we're fucked. Like we're getting fucked by injuries. There's nothing else that we could do. This is really not something that we want to do by moving you to right tackle. You have earned the left tackle position, but because of injuries, we have nobody to fill these spots. Like we can't put anybody else there without having a complete, you know, practice squad level offensive line. We need you to play right tackle because Dwayne clearly can't. You'll be my left tackle next year. I want you to be my left tackle next year. We'll get you back there. But for this year, for the remaining part of this year, let's put your right tackle, have Dwayne fill in at left tackle until I come back and hopefully make a good playoff run. I think that's a possibility. And I think if that's the more the injuries pile up, dude, like what other choice do we have?
Yeah. Sign Lyle Collins, see if he's got anything. But it's like he hasn't been signed for a fucking reason. You know,
100%. And I was looking at it earlier. There's a couple trades that we can make today or tomorrow for an offensive lineman. Cleveland, I don't know where he's coming out of, but I saw someone talking about him. That would be a solid trade. He's a star. He's the only starter that's available. Everybody else is like just figuring it out. But what Robert Saleh said about 65, I think his name is Xavier Newman.
Yes.
You know, he won, you know, practice squad player of the week, got elevated to the 53 and didn't think he was playing. Yeah. Never played a snap at center in his life.
Oh my God.
Never played a snap at center in his life. and he's now going up against the New York Giants, who have a solid defense, and stepped up and, all things considered, played okay.
Yeah, played his ass off.
And I give the kid credit. He and I give our front office credit for finding guys, for finding dogs, finding guys that are willing to step up in these positions that may have never played in this position and play their ass off and play as hard as they possibly can, and do a serviceable job. I give our front office a ton of credit, because to ask anybody to do that, to play a position like center, which is, usually the general of the offensive line in most cases. Yeah. He's usually making all of the offensive line shifts and calls. And then not only that, you have to snap the ball to the quarterback and get your head up fast enough and your arm up fast enough to be able to block. It's one of the toughest positions in the offensive line, and I think they don't get enough credit. And I love listening to Jason Kelce talk about it on his podcast. He's like, you ever hear Jalen Hurts talk about receiving snaps from me? He's like, I feel bad anybody who receives snaps from me. He's like, he's got to get in an athletic position. Like, that squat he has is not like his normal position. It's because Jason Kelce is firing the snap back so fast because he needs to get his hand back. And the average fan doesn't think about those little nuances of the position. Now you're placing a guy who's never played the position in his life in that position against a solid defense. And for him to play the way he played, I give the guy a ton of credit. And we only had one fumble, which is there's something to be said about that.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's really hard. I mean, I had my stint as a high school quarterback and had to take snaps from multiple people. And if someone has to get subbed in, it's really difficult. Right, they're different heights, they're different arm lengths, different cadences.
The ball's coming at a different speed.
Yeah, it's very, very awkward. It's very, very awkward to get under someone's asshole that you've never been under before. So for him to come in and do that, a little oil check, and for him to come in and do that, and Zach to try to adjust to it. I mean, it's respectable, and it's a good point you made about giving kudos to the front office, because that's what's different about this team this year. Mm-hmm. Right? We get praised on our depth on D-line, but if you look around, when we were missing Sauce and DJ, we have D-backs coming in and playing their asses off. We have receivers stepping up and just trying to make it happen. Mm-hmm. We have DJ Reed returning punts because Gibson was hurt. Everyone is playing for each other.
And we stupidly got rid of Mecole Hardman. I was literally screaming at the dad. I was like, we just fucking traded the guy.
I know. But you see how cohesive the team is in a sense. And it was a sloppy win, but we're overcoming all these sub curses that come along with the Namath curse, right? We beat the Eagles. Mm-hmm. Which we've never done. We get a win after the bye against our crosstown rivals, and not only do we get that win, we show that they're a bigger shit show than we are. We win week 1 after Aaron Rodgers goes down on the 4th play. For any team to overcome something like that against the Buffalo Bills, a division rival and top 3 team in the NFL, in recent years. So we 100%. And to that point, Eric, I said earlier that good teams don't look bad out of the bye. Yeah. But also good teams win those ugly games. And usually the Jets lose those games almost every time. In those ugly games where we're in it, we could definitely win it. It's possible. It's close. We're down by a field goal. And we usually 9 times out of 10, if not 10 out of 10, lose that game. And the good teams figure out ways to win the football game. And the Jets did. And for 59 minutes of the game, Zach Wilson and the offense were absolutely atrocious. Some of the worst football anybody could watch. Yeah. It was not entertaining. It was I was at a bar watching the game, and I had them put the sound, the Jets-Giants game, on the big screen and the sound for the whole bar to listen. And the amount of people that were yelling at me to change the fucking game because this game sucks was out of control. Nobody wanted to watch it. I said, shut the fuck up watching the Jets game. That's amazing.
Yeah, oh, it was fucking hilarious. But it was brutal. It was not good football. Our wide receivers are dropping balls left and right. And I really hope that in the next day or two, like at this point, please bring Hunter Renfrow. Like, bring him. At this point, because we have nobody that can catch the football. That guy can at least catch the fucking football.
And he creates separation. We got no one creating separation. We have no route runners besides Garrett.
None.
And he's still not mature enough. Like, physical corners, they put it on him a little bit here and there. You know what I mean? You see him get jammed at the line, and that was a problem with him in college.
He's thin. He's tiny. Like, he looks like he doesn't even weigh 200 pounds.
No, and he looks a little more physical this year, but still, it's going to take him. He's a young kid. He's a baby. You see his face. He's a child. But he's a number one receiver, but he hasn't reached his peak yet.
No question.
We need a real number two. Alan Lazard is not a real number two. I like him in the locker room. I like his blocking, big body, whatever, but he doesn't create separation, and that big body is fucking useless because he cannot come down with a contested catch if the game was on the line. And he made a great clutch catch, but he also dropped a bunch where we wouldn't have even been in that situation if he
balls, dude. No, absolutely. I hope that we're turning over every stone to make a trade today or tomorrow. Like, we have pieces that we can unload. We have pieces that we can unload.
Let's get into it.
Let's unload these pieces. Let's get a wide receiver. We need help. We need more weapons because Breece Hall is not catching everything. It's very unfortunate. Like, it's mind-boggling how many drops Breece Hall has had this year. When he's supposed to be a good out of the backfield and good pass catcher, and he hasn't been. And I think that's part of the reason why we're not making design screens to Breece, because he's dropping so many footballs. And we have guys like Lazard dropping the ball left and right, Garrett dropping balls, which is very unlike him, and not just dropping balls. There's been a couple contested catches that he should have had.
Yeah,
like
if you're the number one.
Yes, exactly. If you want to be that guy, you want to be a top 5 wide receiver. And like, look at AJ Brown yesterday. That one-handed grab. The guy's a fucking freak of nature. Or even the catch he had against us.
Yeah.
The catch he had against us on the sideline. Like, the best wide receivers, when it's one-on-one, they make 75 to 85% of the catches in contested catch situations. Usually the time they don't make the catches because it's a bad throw and they can't make a play on it, or they get hit so ridiculously hard in a one-handed catch contested situation that they can't come down with it. But every time there's a play where you can get the wide receiver can get 2 hands on the ball and it's a decent thrown ball, 9 times out of 10 they're coming down with the ball, the best wide receivers in football. And Garrett Wilson has had a few of those balls this year where it's one-on-one, it's a catchable ball. The one against Patrick Surtain he should have caught 2 weeks ago, a couple this week. If he wants to be a top dog in the league, he's got to come up with those balls. He's got to make those plays. He's got to know that our quarterback is not a top level quarterback or even a top half of the league quarterback, and he's going to have to make his quarterback look good. If he wants to be one of the best and put in that conversation, he has to make those plays.
Yeah,
has to. No questions about it. And to be fair, we need help. We can't just rely on him getting open. Joe Douglas needs to be on the phone today, on the phone tomorrow. There are guys that are going to be available. And there's going to be I swear to God, Eric, if we see today Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport get on the Twitter and say, this person went for a 4th-round pick, and it's like a fucking top guy. Like, Randy Moss got traded for a 4th-round pick. Like, people forget this. Like, they traded for a 4th-round pick. This happens all of the time where these guys trade these top-level wide receivers for 3, 4, 5-round picks, and they go to other teams. If one of these players that are potentially available get traded to another team that aren't the New York Jets for a 3rd or 4th-round pick, and the Jets aren't involved in making a trade themselves, I'm going to lose my shit. I'm going to go fucking ape shit on Joe Douglas because we need help. We need offensive line help, and there isn't much offensive line available. That's a given. It's going to be very tough to make a trade and bring in an offensive lineman. But wide receiver, there's going to be guys available. There is going to be teams that are sellers. Whether it's an Adam Thielen, I don't think it's going to be. Whether it's a Devontae Adams, who might secretly be low-key available, I don't think he's going to be. But we may see big names or bigger names besides the Hunter Renfrows and teams that are sellers that are looking to unload guys. Like, what if Dotson is available? They're not using him.
Yeah.
They're not using him. What if he's available? What if Terry McLaurin's available? What if, like, all right, we're gonna have Dotson be our one. We're gonna sell because it seems like they're trading Chase Young.
Yeah,
that's a pot. If they're trading Chase Young, they're sellers. They're sellers. Let's kick the tires on the wide receivers over at Washington. Let's see what they want for one of these guys. Like, there's going to be teams that are selling this year. There's a ton of teams that are like, all right, we're done. And Aaron Rodgers said at the beginning of the year, on Pat McAfee, that trades are happening more and more in the NFL this year. Guys are being dealt.
Yeah, right by the deadline.
We need to be buyers. We're in a playoff position. We're in the fight for the division. I said it last week. I'm going to say it again this week. Even after this terrible performance, we can win this division. The Dolphins almost lost to the Patriots. They're not that good. The Buffalo Bills are not that good.
Yep.
They almost lost on Thursday to the Bucs. They're not that good. We can win this division, but we need help. We can't, like, with the team that we have right now, Eric, we can make the playoffs, sure. We can win the division, sure. But it's going to be much tougher to do if we don't, like, if we bring in a guy, even Hunter Renfrow, who I didn't want last week.
Nope.
I didn't want him. We're so desperate that I'll take him.
Yeah.
I'll take him.
I guess. I mean, like, JD's got to call 31 other teams. Plain and simple. The linemen are going to be tough. You got to scour every team's practice squad. You got to do your homework on that. But when it comes to the receivers, you got to make a trade. You got to deal your guys. I mean, I'm not sure if I'd be so quick to deal Lawson yet, just because
the depth is good.
And we need. We like.
Same with Dalvin Cook.
Cook. I think I would get rid of Carter though.
I'm down for either one.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, I would like to see Izzy get some more active playing time. I think he's got some explosion in him. I think he's a big home run hitter. Maybe we get him as a change of pace back. I don't think Michael Carter is that good, but a lot of, like, I watch a lot of their social media, and, like, a lot of the guys are like, oh, they ask all the guys who their best friend is, and a lot of them were like Michael Carter, MC, MC. So that could be another reason why he's on the team. Like, everybody loves him. He's a leader in the locker room.
He's giving us nothing though. But he's giving us
100%.
Drops and penalties.
That's it. Drops and penalties. He had that one play last 2 weeks ago where he got the big first down on third down. So he's not completely MIA like Carl Lawson and Dalvin Cook have been.
Yeah. Like,
both those guys have been completely MIA, and Mecole Hardman until we got rid of him, and now he's a Chief and making plays for the Chiefs. It drives me fucking nuts. But I just want to be buyers. I want to be making moves, wheeling and dealing for some offensive weapons. We cannot rely on Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, because yesterday we had zero run game. Nothing. We could not move the ball at all on the ground. Breece Hall was getting stuffed to the line. Dalvin Cook, Michael Carter were getting stuffed to the line. I didn't see the amount of rushing attempts that we had. It wasn't many. I could say that. I know it wasn't a lot. I'd say less than 10, which shouldn't happen in my opinion. It really shouldn't. But situationally, it wasn't.
Not much you can do.
There's really nothing that we could do situationally.
We lost the interior of our O-line, and the strength of the Giants is the interior of their D-line. Yes. But why aren't we going outside?
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
You know what I mean?
So
there's
tosses.
Exactly. There's other things we should have been doing. But either way, like,
our one touchdown was a screenplay to Breece Hall, who just put the team on his back and broke tackles.
That was a phenomenal play.
Showing the league why us Jets fans say he's a top 3 running back in NFL. Yeah. He really is. He's can take any play to the house. I don't. I watch a lot of Red Zone when I'm not watching the Jets, and I have whatever local games are on. I have both games going, but I watch the Jets games very, very closely. And besides Curtis Martin in our career, maybe Sean Green had a couple, and Chris Ivory had a couple. But Chris Ivory wasn't a big play running back. He was just a grind you out and wear you down.
Yeah.
But Breece Hall has more 20-plus yard carries and catches as a running back than any Jet player I've ever seen in my life. And not just Jet player. I don't see running backs in the NFL get that many in a game. Like, it's almost like he doesn't get a lot of touches, but every touch that he gets, he has like one or two a game where it's a 20-plus yard carry or catch, some even longer.
Yeah, he's a freak of nature, dude. I mean, he's shown it basically in every game, whether it's from a run or from, catching the ball out of the backfield. It's like he could. It's not like he makes one guy miss, gone. I mean, on his touchdown, he made one guy miss. The same guy missed two different times, broke two tackles, made another guy miss, and then put on the hit the turbo, the afterburners, and bolted into the end zone. I mean, the dude's a freak talent, and it's a shame that we don't have another running back that can kind of complement that. But as we get later and later into the season, I think they're just going to use him as a workhorse. I think it's just going to be give him the rock.
Oh, he needs to be our Jonathan Taylor.
Especially when the games matter more and more. We get closer to that playoff push. It's like, fuck it, dude. Just let him fly, man, and it makes everyone else a little bit expendable.
Start right now, because every single game going forward matters. Like the Chargers is a must-win game. The Raiders after that is a must-win game. We have to play our division rivals, the Dolphins twice, the Bills once, and the Patriots once. We have four more games against our division. 4 more. And if we can't win these games, which are very winnable games, like the Chargers played an atrocious team yesterday and won. I picked them in my suicide pool.
Yeah,
they were the most picked team in the suicide pool, and they were 2-4 going into the game. They're not a good team. No. They're also crushed and riddled with injuries. Their defense is so bad. Their offense is crushed with injuries. It's a very winnable game. Raiders game. The Raiders are fucking god-awful. They're terrible. We need to win that game. Yeah. And then the Bills after that. And the Bills is another winnable game. I would love to sweep the Bills. Nothing would make me happier. But we're getting ahead of ourselves because every game going forward, my point is a must-win game. We have to use our weapons, and situationally, the best we possibly can. Zach Wilson can't throw the football. It's a rainy day. Okay, let's hand the ball off to Breece. Let's give him some screen passes. Let's just get him 15, 20 touches today. 15, 20 touches a game. Oh, you want to stack 8 in the box? Okay, we're going to send Garrett on a slant route. He's going to take that slant route to the house. Our run game is going to set up our pass game. And in a rainy game, and our quarterback clearly can't move the football, we need to just pound the rock. We need to just, okay, we're not moving. We didn't move the ball either way. We were 3 and out almost every drive anyway. Yeah. Like, it makes no sense. Like, oh, well, it's 3rd and long. What are we going to do? Run the fucking football. Just run it.
Short passes. Run it in short passes, man. Let our playmakers do their fucking thing. Keep it going, dude. I'm about to piss myself. Sorry.
No, that's fun. Go. It's really, really unfortunate that Zach Wilson is being relied on in these games, and we're going 3 and out. I'm going to look up the touches right now. What were the touches for Garrett Wilson or Breece Hall yesterday? I'm sorry. How many touches did Breece have? Breece Hall. Let's see. Let's see his stats yesterday. Only 22 years old. It's unbelievable. He had 12 attempts for 17 yards, and he averaged 1.4 yards per carry. 1.4 yards per carry. Holy crap. And our offensive line was in shambles. But the rest of the season, he's been unbelievable. But 12 touches, 12 attempts rushing the football for Breece Hall, I don't think that's enough. I really don't. And, Dalvin Cook's complaining about how he's a guy who needs touches to get going. And I get it. A lot of running backs are. He gets better as the game goes on. But 12 touches for Breece Hall in a game where our offense couldn't move the ball at all. And 1.4 yards per carry is awful, but I don't think the play calling put him in a good situation. I really don't. I don't think that the play calling was very good on the offensive side of the football. We weren't moving. We were punting every drive, and we were trying to run the ball up the middle against this defense when we have nobody on the offensive fucking line. What are we doing? We should be running tosses, sweeps outside. Breece Hall can make guys miss. We should be pulling our guards and running 12 personnel with our blocking tight ends and running sweeps and stretch plays to the outside and letting Breece Hall be Breece Hall. It makes no sense. I was just saying, Eric, we had 12 attempts for Breece Hall yesterday, 12. And he had 1.4 yards per carry, per attempt, which is awful. But I was saying our play calling did not put them in good positions. Our offensive line was in shambles. Our interior line was destroyed, and they have a good run defense in the interior line. We didn't run any stretch plays, no tosses, no sweeps, no nothing, with guards pulling, running 12 personnel with our great blocking tight ends, and letting Breece Hall do what he does best, make a guy miss and try to get to the second level. That was the best situation that he could have been in. It's not like we were moving the ball. It would have been one thing if we were, our drives were getting stalled in the red zone like they have been in the past couple of weeks and we were moving the football. We weren't moving the ball at all.
No, it's disappointing. Yeah. Because I thought this would be a huge game for Breece. I thought this would be a massive game for Breece. And I think it could have been, it just with some creative play calling, just get them off balance, get them off rhythm, like stretch out that hefty ass defensive line, make them run side to side, let it build. And then, come third, fourth quarter, Breece is going to break one. He always does.
No question. And they didn't put him in that position. 12 attempts by Breece Hall is not enough. I'm sorry. It's not. In a game where we had no offensive production whatsoever, nothing. Zach Wilson could not complete a pass, whether it was because he was missing throws or guys were dropping the ball. We couldn't move the football, and Breece Hall is one of the best running backs in football. And 12 attempts and all of them in the inside makes no sense. Yeah. It makes no freaking sense. I put that on Hackett, man. We need a situation like our defense is very good at making adjustments. Very, very good at making adjustments throughout the game. All year they've been great at it. Our offense, for whatever reason, they cannot do the same. Like our offense, it's like we have a game plan for the offense, and the game goes a certain way, or injuries happen or things happen, and we cannot make adjustments in the game plan to fit the scenario that we're in. Like our center and our guard went down, so it's a great idea. Let's just run it right into the great defensive line run stop of the defensive line. That's their strength. The interior line, like Leonard Williams, we had him on our team. The one thing he was good at was stuffing the run. He wasn't good at anything else. Yeah, but he was good at stuffing the run. They have a good interior defensive line.
Dexter Lawrence had a monster game.
Yeah, and that's probably their best defensive player. So we just kept running right at them instead of being creative, instead of getting guards pulling, having our tight ends in there. Lazard's a blocking wide receiver. Garrett doesn't mind getting his hands dirty. We need something. We need something. I'll tell you right now, dude. I really miss. I didn't think I was going to, but I miss Corey Davis.
Yeah. It's super unfortunate. He was a Zach security blanket. They already had a rapport. Yes. We've seen him. Yeah, he's had a couple drops, but he had a lot of clutch catches, big ones, end of the game.
My biggest gripe with Corey Davis is he couldn't stay on the field. He could never be healthy. He was never healthy enough to stay on the field. But I feel like in tough situations, Corey Davis was that guy that Zach looked to on the field, and he was our one. Like it wasn't like we had Garrett Wilson in his prime to take the number one slot, and Corey Davis could be the two. Like if Corey Davis was Alan Lazard, I think Corey Davis is a much better Alan Lazard than Alan Lazard is right now.
Yeah, and then Alan Lazard's a much better slot guy than
He's
whoever
a
we have
three.
out there, you know?
He's a three. He's a
big body
blocking
three.
wide receiver, a big body guy who's going to make some big catches here and there, but can't be relied on to get open. Like, we need guys that are going to get open. And Corey Davis, for whatever reason, somehow always was open. He was always open. He dropped some balls, but he'd always get open.
Well, I think the difference too is like he played well with Zach. Like, if you watch the Eagles play, Hurts scrambles around and his receivers find space, and they move around with him. Same with the Chiefs. His receivers find space, and they kind of like, and that's the reason why Cobb was playing so much, because that's all Cobb did for Rodgers. Cobb, he'll catch a slant for a first down conversion on third, but where he made his money is Rodgers running all over the place, and Cobb finding the space, extending the plays. Cobb's on the same page. He hits him. We don't really have that right now.
Look at Zach's career with Corey Davis. Every single time there was like a big scramble play and Zach had to move around and Zach made a great throw or a great play, it was always thrown to Corey Davis. Remember that early on in his career, I think his rookie year, and he went on that scramble to the right and waved Corey Davis deep and threw the bomb
against the Titans.
And, against the Titans and caught that touchdown pass. That was when we saw that, we're like, all right, this is why we drafted this guy number 2 overall, because of plays like that. But it was to Corey Davis because he felt comfortable scrambling around. That was his go-to guy to extend plays. I don't think he has that rapport. Last year it was more Barrios, who I miss as well. Like, I miss a guy like Barrios. He was always open. Like, I feel like if we had a guy like Barrios right now, we'd have a little safety blanket for Zach for short passes, for outlet passes, and he's not there. There is no chemistry, and Garrett is a 1, and he's getting tons of targets. I like it. Every time there's a one-on-one, like they were saying it in the broadcast yesterday, every time there's a one-on-one situation, Zach Wilson is locked in on Garrett Wilson, which he needs to fix. He needs to, try to move safeties and things like that. But I like that he's recognizing the one-on-one opportunity and getting it to his number 1 guy who should catch 50-50 balls more than 50% of the time.
Yeah.
I like that.
Garrett's had like a catch every week where you're like, holy shit, that was amazing. Like his little toe tap on the sideline.
Yes.
I mean, Zach put that ball the only place you could possibly put it, but it was a super difficult catch. He somehow comes up with it. Like, that's great. But, we got to see it more frequently with someone on him. We need to see it.
My point I'm with you on that. My point with that is, though, we cannot, Garrett's getting 10 plus targets a game, which I love. I want 10 to 15 targets for Garrett every single week, not only because I have him in fantasy, but because he's great for the Jets offense. But to sit here and expect all the targets to go to Garrett Wilson and nobody else make a play is silly. Like, this guy is going to be double covered. He's going to get bracketed. They're going to key on him, and we need to have other guys that are going to get open in first and second down throws and not have to rely on, Zach finding the one-on-one matchup, because he's not going to be one-on-one every time. I love that. Every time he's one-on-one, Zach Garrett, every time. I'm fine with that. I am okay. If you throw a pick on a one-on-one ball to Garrett on a one-on-one opportunity, I'm okay with that. Throw it to Garrett on these one-on-one opportunities as many times as you possibly can. Maybe try to look a guy off and give him a better opportunity once in a while, but I'm okay with that. We need someone who's going to be open other than Garrett Wilson. It's a must. We can't rely on Allen Lazard. He can't get open. He cannot get open. And for whatever reason, Tyler Conklin's getting open. We're not utilizing him enough, or our tight ends. Ruckert needs to be on the field more often. I think Uzama's still getting too much playing time. We're not using our tight ends at all. Like, I don't get it.
This wasn't Conklin's greatest game, though. I mean, he's been sticky recently, but yesterday he was kind of a liability with the ball getting thrown to him in terms of contested catches. And as a tight end, your job is contested catches.
So what I love about Tyler Conklin is he's a great blocker. He's a phenomenal blocker. And he usually catches the ball. He's
a route runner, though, too. He's a great route runner as a tight end.
100%. I think Tyler Conklin, in my opinion, is the most underrated tight end in football. I don't put him in the category of, the Mark Andrews or Travis Kelce's by any stretch of the means, but I think he's, only a tier or two below those guys as far as talent goes. We're just not using that talent. He's a very good blocker. He can run block, and he's an unbelievable route runner. When he was on the Vikings, he was the number one run and pass blocker as a tight end, the number one in the league when he was on the Vikings. So I love that he's on the field, but he only had 2 targets yesterday. 2. Yeah. 2 targets. One was an uncatchable ball. One was uncatchable. And the second one he should have caught. It was a very tough contested catch, but he should have caught it. So to say he's a liability, I wouldn't say that. He didn't get enough opportunities. Like we need to be using our tight ends, whether they're chipped. I get our offensive line is in shambles. We need them to block, and I think that's the case in many scenarios. But we need to set up, now that we're using these guys to block, maybe early in the game, they're sticking in there to block and they're staying to block, but let's set up plays where our tight ends start as blockers and they shed the blocks and go into the flat, or they go and sit in the zone on a curl route right past the sticks. Like, why aren't we doing that? We have guys that can run routes. We have guys that can get open and catch the football. Ruckert is not on the field, and he should be. He's much better than Uzomah. We've been saying this from week one, and he's nowhere to be found. Every time he's on the field, though, his name is getting mentioned, whether it's because he's making a big block, springing Breece Hall, or he's making a catch. He's not on the field. We're not using our tight ends at all. I don't know why. Like, we have guys that can catch the football, and we're just talking about how our other wide receivers besides Garrett Wilson can't get open or catch the football. 2 targets to Conklin is not okay. 2. He didn't catch
they got to figure it out.
He didn't catch the 1, but 2 is not okay. We should have more pass targets to our tight ends. We have 3 tight ends on the depth chart. Not many teams carry 3 tight ends. If we're going to carry 3 fucking tight ends, let's use them.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I think a lot of it, too, is like with those where, they're blocking and then running a route afterwards. We don't have the O-line for these longer developing plays. That's why you're not seeing Zach throw deep enough. There's not time for double moves. There's not time for anything to develop. But you got to figure it out. I'm
not asking for that. Like, if we need him to block, I get it, because our offensive line is in shambles, but it goes back to the coaching adjustments. Like, it's like we don't make any adjustments on the fly to as the game is going on to take advantage of what we set up early on in the game. Like, if our tight ends are blocking for most of the first half into the third quarter, why not we start blocking, 2 seconds shed, and go into the flat, or sit in the zone and on a curl route, on a stick route? Why not set these things up where we have Zach has outlet passes if Garrett Wilson isn't one-on-one and can't get open, and Alan Lazard is doing what Alan Lazard does, is being blanket covered the whole entire time. Who else are we throwing to? Nobody. Yeah. Like, what are we doing? We have 3 tight ends in the depth chart. I'm not asking for long developing plays. I'm not asking for them to line up like Travis Kelce does in a wide receiver position. Start on the line. Start in 12-man personnel. I don't care. But block, shed, get open. Like, let's try something. We're not moving the ball at all, and Garrett Wilson is the only guy that's getting open. He's the only guy. Yeah. We need to do something. Like, why can't we make these adjustments? I am not an offensive wizard, but 2 targets. Uzomah had 1. He had 1 catch. He had a first down catch late in the game. Yeah. Ruckert, MIA. I don't think he had any targets.
I think he had the 1. It was a bad throw, if I remember correctly.
Okay, 1 with a bad throw. Yeah. So 4 total targets to our tight ends when nobody else can get open besides Garrett Wilson, and we're carrying 3? What are we doing?
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, that's where the creativity has to come in now. I mean,
so it's not even creativity. It's really not being creative,
because they're going off their they're sticking to the system, right? And like, if you remember last year, beginning of the season, the biggest criticism of the defense and Saleh and Ulbrich was, all they do is stick to their system. They don't make any adjustments. There's no creativity, right? You see it now that the system's established this season. Now you're starting to see some different looks. You're starting to see some cool shit. It seems like the offense right now is stale in a sense where, at a certain point where nothing's working, you just start throwing shit at the wall. Like, give me something. Give me some misdirection. vary your offense a little bit, vary how you get your guys the ball, to at the very least keep the defense on their toes, because you're seeing it every time. They're stacking the box, they're playing man, they're sending the blitz, forcing Zach to get rid of the ball quick. Okay, so we can't run it up the middle. We can't have a long developing throw downfield. Where are we going to get creative from here?
Screen passes.
Can we line 3 guys up on the same side? Can we have a rub route? Can we do anything? Can we have our running back chip the blitzer and then run into the flat? Like, there's a lot of things you could do, and we're just not seeing the creativity. It's like they're sticking to the system that they established with Rodgers, and shit hasn't really changed.
That's the problem.
And you could tell because all the games that we won come down to Zach needing to make huge throws at the end of the game.
Yes.
And that's what Rodgers does. Like, he is phenomenal at that. And, to Zach's credit, he's made those throws. But it shouldn't be close in the first place.
Absolutely. I think Zach Wilson does better in those situations than he does in this scripted offense that we're running right now. I really do. Like, it's almost like they have a governor on him, and they're not letting him do certain things, and they're trying to keep it so vanilla. But you're absolutely right. This offense was geared towards Aaron Rodgers, and they never made any adjustments for that. Like, Aaron Rodgers is like a Peyton Manning out there. He's making adjustments on the line. Like, the play is called, and he's like, okay, this guy's doing this guy's doing that. I'm going to change your route. You're going to do this. You're going to chip here. And all of that's done on the line. Where Zach Wilson's not making those adjustments, and you can't expect him to make those adjustments. No, you can't sit here as a coach and be like, okay, I'm going to call this play and it's going to work. I need him, Paul Hackett, to be making play calls that are more fit towards Zach Wilson and his ability. He is not Aaron Rodgers. He has the athletic ability to make the throws that Aaron Rodgers can, but he doesn't have the mind that Aaron Rodgers has. And I think we haven't made any adjustments on the offensive side of the football to deal with that. I don't think there's been anything made to say, hey, Zach can't do what Aaron can pre-snap. He can't. Yeah. So let's make the play call so that pre-snap he's going to have a couple outlet routes and a couple chip routes or rub routes that he's going to be able to drop it down to and make a throw to. We don't do any of that. Nothing.
I mean, it all boils down to exactly what we were saying we wanted to see going into this game, right? We wanted to see our team, the better team, come in and look like the better team from start to finish, out scheme them, outplay them, outwork them the whole way through. All of our wins have been coming from just the will of these guys. Big plays. Brees breaks something, Garrett breaks something, the defense comes up with something huge, and we just kind of win, and at the end of the game, Zach makes a couple big throws, ices it. We haven't seen a complete win, like a full complementary football win. We haven't seen it yet.
Not even close, dude.
And that's what scares me about this team. If we make it to the playoffs, or we make it to a playoff situation where we got to win and in, it's like the games only get tighter, they only get more difficult. The window for mistakes gets smaller and smaller. You're not going to you can't expect, just like you can't expect the defense to have 4 turnovers a game, you can't expect someone to make a huge play and change the outcome of the game anymore. It has to be a full win from the coaching down. And we haven't seen it yet. And this next stretch of games, we're going to have to see it, or, it's going to predict essentially the end of the year.
Oh, if we don't turn into a full team and play complementary football across the board, our playoffs hopes are all but shot. Like, if we put out that performance that we put out yesterday, week in and week out, we're not making the playoffs. Like, we're not doing anything. Our win in your in game is against the New England Patriots, who we haven't beaten in 15 games. We like, as badly as I want to beat the Patriots and as much as we should beat the Patriots, I am not counting my blessings at all if we have to win against, like, if we're going to week 18 and it's like, all right, you guys beat the Patriots, you're in the playoffs, you got a wild card spot, put an L on the board. Like, that's my mentality on it. Put an L on the board. Like, the Jets should not be in the situation that they have to beat the New England Patriots to get into the postseason. We should not be in that situation at all. We should go on a 3-game, which would end up being a 6-game winning streak.
Yeah.
If we win the next 2 games, and then the Bills is a toss-up at Buffalo. But I want to talk about Zach Wilson real quick, talk about Quincy Williams real quick, then we'll talk about the fight and we'll close out the show. But Zach Wilson, we hammered on him a lot today, but I do want to give him some credit because at the end of the game, when the game was on the line,
24 seconds. Both
at the end of regulation, with 24 seconds and in overtime, he did what he needed to do. And I was so upset the last drive of the game where he gave up those 2 sacks, which were the most embarrassing sacks ever. Like, at least give your guys a chance. Throw the ball up. Like, if you throw a pick, like, give your guys a shot. Don't just take a 10-yard sack 2 plays in a row after holding on to the ball for 12 seconds behind the line of scrimmage. So you had the ball forever. But that last drive in that 24 seconds, he made some beautiful throws. And this is exactly what the coaches see in him. And, you know, why the coaches continue to say we're going to ride with Zach, even though I don't think we should. But it's because of those throws. Those throws are top tier quarterback play throws.
Dude, he created time for himself. He moved. It was off schedule, and he throws the ball on a fucking rope. 30, 40 yards. Like, it's nothing. Honestly, he does this every week. You see trash play, and then you see a throw, and you're like, wow. What is that?
Why can't he do this all the time?
Yeah, I mean, out of all the quarterbacks, I mean, we had Favre, right, in 08, and he made some good throws. Like, he's got a cannon. I haven't seen anything like that since then, and now we've seen it for 3 years, like, multiple games where this kid he could throw the ball anywhere in the stadium if he wants to. And he did it on the run. And then the receivers kind of made up for the rest of the game by, you know, bringing down those balls. And the big thing I want to, like, point out, he gave up that 4th and 10 sack, right? That was one of the worst things I've ever seen. We get the ball back, and he throws a shot up, a great ball, man coverage with Malik. What's his last name?
Yeah, this guy I never heard of.
Yeah,
I was like, who the fuck? Like, I thought we activated Jason Brown-Lee today. Who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, I didn't even know he was on the. He was started.
What?
But he put the ball in position and forced that defensive PI.
Yes.
And it was like, okay, that was the mistake that you made prior by giving up that sack. You didn't give your receivers a chance. You didn't give your offense a chance to draw that flag. He learned. You know, what it seems like, at least, is that he learned. So he does this every week, plays like shit, shows a glimmer of hope where it's like, I think he could do it. I don't know if he could do it, but it's the most stressful shit I've ever watched in my life, week in and week out.
I'm going to have a heart attack, dude.
Dude, I can't.
I'm going to have a heart attack watching Jets play every week because it's like mind-numbingly boring watching the Jets for 3.5 quarters, 4 quarters, and then all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit! Like, I was at the bar, dude, and after that sack, everybody I was with left. Everybody I was with left. I stayed. There was 24. I'm like, something in my body tells me to stay. I'm going to stay and watch the end of the game. And I stayed and sat there by myself and watched the end of the game. And I texted my buddies that I was with. I was like, you'll never fucking believe this, but the Jets just tied the game. They're like, get the fuck out of here. What? They couldn't believe it. And it was because Zach put the team on his back. Garrett Wilson with that one catch where he got up and ran for the first great effort. Like, and this is what we're talking about, the will of this team. Like, these guys want to win. They will do anything to win. And, you know, that goes to show with the effort that Garrett Wilson put it on that play. Like, he didn't have to get up. He could have just stayed there taking the down and, you know, at a short 4th down. Yeah. But he got up and made a play, and almost, if he broke that tackle, he could have, you know, went another 20, 30 yards. Yeah. It's really exciting to see, but Zach Wilson is capable of making those throws. I don't understand why it takes us our backs being against the wall to put Zach in those positions to make those throws. It's like, why don't we do that earlier on in the game where we try those play calls earlier on in the game? You know, why? Like, I don't get it. Like, why are we continually doing all these things that don't work? And maybe if guys catch the football more, we wouldn't be in that situation.
Yeah.
Because we did have a lot of big drops, but at the same time, like it's almost like the end of every game we're relying on Zach Wilson to put the team on his back and win the game, and he does.
Yeah.
And we're like, holy shit, he did it. Like, we're all looking around like, wait a second, did this really happen? Holy shit.
But it's almost worse.
Yeah.
It's almost worse. It's like, I just want to know who our fucking quarterback is. Like, I just want to know. If he sucks, he sucks. Let's get someone else. Throw the backup in. Let's see what he can do. But I see why they didn't bench him. Because Tim Boyle, Trevor Siemian, they're not escaping that pressure. 2, they're not making those throws to win the game. And it's like, if you had a different backup, like if you had like a Minshew, I think Zach probably doesn't see the field. Because Minshew is mobile enough. He doesn't have the arm.
I would love a Minshew right now, dude.
Yeah.
I would fucking love a Minshew right now.
But Simeon would have got his fucking
I would love a
leg broken
Jacoby
in
Brissett
half.
right now, dude. I would love a Jacoby Brissett.
I like Brissett.
I would love a Jacoby Brissett right now. He won games with the Browns. Similar situation, great defense, good running game, and he can move around. He makes good decisions. I would love a Jacoby Brissett. I think we can, make a playoff run with Jacoby Brissett as our quarterback.
Yeah,
I really do.
He's a system guy.
I could be wrong. It could just be the whole entire offense is that bad and no one can catch the fucking football. But I don't think.
I think you're right, dude. I think you're right because Hackett, he's had success with quarterbacks like other than Rodgers from the system, guys who will listen to the system, like Bortles, right? Yep. But Zach's not that, man. Zach is a free flowing Utah. Hippie.
No, yeah, he's
you
better.
Gotta just let him play, man.
Yeah, he's better off the cuff, off the hip. Just let him play, let him make plays, and go from there. But it's almost like they handcuff him. They're trying to baby him and like hold his hand as he's playing. And to give him credit, he's not turning over the football, which is his biggest problem last year. It was the biggest issue with him is he turned 3 interceptions a game almost last year. Yeah. It was ridiculous, and he's turned the ball over once this year.
Yeah, well, the fumbles, right? He had 2.
The first fumble was his fault. The second fumble was not his fault. The second fumble is, he got a new center. What's going on?
Hold on, my headphones disconnected. Sorry.
That's weird.
Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
Oh my god. Okay, you want to just turn your AirPods off and go outside real quick?
But
Jesus Christ.
I really think that Zach needs to just let it go. We need to take the handcuffs off. Let's make the play calls as if it's a 2-minute drill. I think he does better in up tempo. I think he does better with a faster pace of play.
One second.
No, you're good. You're good. Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me? I don't think he hears me. Hey, Eric, suck it. Suck it. Nope, he can't hear me. Good thing I'm calling him a piece of shit while he can't hear me.
Gotta be shitting me with this.
Guy can't fucking hear me. Oh, I'm talking mad shit. Let's go. Eric sucks. Can you hear me? Nope, can't hear me. Oh, I love it. Talking mad shit. Let's see. Let's back out. Come back in. Oh man. What a peel. This is why we can't have nice things. Can you hear me?
I sure can. Can you hear me?
I heard you the whole time. I was talking shit the whole entire time.
I couldn't fucking hear shit.
I knew it. I was telling you to get fucked. You suck. You're a piece of shit. And then you couldn't talk back. It was great.
Well,
but no, I was saying that I think we need to take the training wheels off of Zach We need to let him play. He does much better in a up-tempo offense. He does much better in a fast-paced offense. Let's let the kid play. Like, he's not turning the football over because I think he's just so handcuffed. Like, they're just not letting him.
I think they're forcing him to learn. They're grooming him. He's like a kid at the dinner table, and the parents are making him eat those fucking vegetables, and the kid's body doesn't respond to those fucking vegetables. The kid does better when he eats whatever the fuck he wants. Yeah, you gotta let Zach eat whatever the fuck he wants. Let him run off his Skittles and Starburst. Let him run around. Let him throw the ball. Let him make mistakes. Let him get hit. Let him get banged up. Whatever the case is, you gotta let the kid play because that's his style. And we've seen other quarterbacks play that way. Yeah, it's not like you can't be successful that way. I think that's just the only way his mind and his body connect is when he's free. And I think you gotta let him be free and stop trying to teach him this system. We're gonna have Rodgers. I'm sorry, Zach Wilson is not going to replace Aaron Rodgers and play like Aaron Rodgers. Zach Wilson. I don't care if
we go to the Super Bowl this year with Zach Wilson. If we which will never happen, but let's just say hypothetically, we made it to the Super Bowl this year. We win the division with Zach Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back next year. Zach Wilson's not going to be our quarterback. I don't care if we won the division or won the Super Bowl or not. Like, that's just not – it's not happening. I'm sorry. And I would love that to be a problem, and the talking heads in the media be like, oh, my God, are they going to run with Zach Wilson because he took him to the Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah. I would love that to be the case, but realistic, it's never going to happen as far as Zach Wilson ever replacing Aaron Rodgers as a starter, no matter what the scenario is. Aaron Rodgers is going to be our quarterback next year, and probably, maybe even as soon as December. It's very, 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 very likely that happens. It's almost like a foregone conclusion at this point. It looks like.
I wonder if they're keeping the offense the same and sticking to this scheme, so the O-line and the rest of the team doesn't lose that consistency for when Rodgers comes back.
It's possible, but if we lose games,
it's not gonna matter.
At the behest of that, like, it won't fucking mean shit. So that doesn't really make sense. Possibly it's possible, but who knows? But I really think Zach needs to be the training wheels need to be taken off. Let's treat every situation like a 2-minute offense. Like, first drive, hey Zach, we got 2 minutes to score. Let's go and run it that way. Let him play. And see what happens. Like, if he starts throwing the ball and we get 3 turnovers, like, for example, our defense is going to our punters and saying to Morstead, like, yo, take shots, like, try to put it if you get a touchback, because he was on Pat McAfee today talking about that. He's like, if you get a touchback, they gotta get 80 yards on us anyway. So take shots, see if you can pin him inside the 5. And our defense should be saying the same thing to Zach, like, hey. Like, we're in the game. Like, let's play. Like, throw the ball. Let's see what happens. We got your back. And I think our defense is good enough. If Zach throws 3-4 picks a game, then let's go put the training wheels back on. But we've seen him in high-pressure situations move the football down the field, score points, like 2-point conversions. Like, Zach Wilson gets in the end zone every single time. Like, it's unbelievable. It's wild what he's doing. And so we just let the kid play. Let's treat it like a 2-point conversion, like 2-minute drill every single time. Our defense should be saying to Zach, hey, you turn the football over, we're going to get it back. Don't worry, we're going to get it back. And let the kid play until he starts turning the ball over multiple times a game and causing us really, really losing us games like he was last year, because he was losing us games because of the turnovers. But right now he's not losing his games. He's like in limbo. He's in between losing his games and winning his games. Like, he's like right in the middle right now. Let's take a shot. Let's see what he can do. Let's see if he can win a game or two, and see what happens. It's worth a shot. We're not moving the ball anyway. We're punting it every single drive. Let's see what the kid can do. Let's take the training wheels off.
I agree.
Lastly,
let him rock.
Go ahead.
I said, just let him rock, man.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Lastly, Quincy Williams, once again, proving to be one of the best linebackers in football. He is all over the place. I think he has surpassed his brother and Sauce as our best defensive player. Maybe that's just because no one's throwing towards Sauce, and Quinnen is getting double and triple teamed on the defensive line, and he's running freely and just all over the place and making plays. But that's exactly what he's doing. He's all over the place making plays. Like, there's plays that he is on, like, in a block, and a screen pass is getting thrown to the sideline, and he's getting to the sideline behind the line to make a tackle.
Yeah, he looks amazing. I mean, it's just showing solid scheme. You know, every team that he's had, really stout D-line, some good coverage on the back end, and then one or two linebackers that stand out because they just clean everything out. Every team is going to throw short. We talked about this the other day. Mm-hmm. Every team's going to throw short, misdirection runs, whatever the case is. And now Quincy is starting to learn from CJ, and they are flying over the field. And now CJ doesn't have to worry so much about Quincy, so he's playing more freely. He looks amazing. Yep. After weeks and weeks of us shitting on him, he looks amazing. But Quincy is at a new level, man. He's at an all-pro level. He's got the most defensive stops, the most pass coverage. Like, he's on fire. He's a missile. He gets behind the line. He sheds blocks, and when he hits you, he usually sticks you.
Yep.
You know?
Oh, he missed, dude, that one tackle he had that he missed.
After he blew up the blocker,
he just blew up the blocker and then put a full wrap-up tackle on him. Like, he shouldn't have been over there. He had no business being where he was that quickly, but he blew up the blocker, got a huge opportunity to make a tackle for a loss, and just fell off the running back, off of Saquon. Which, you know, the guy's got tree trunks for thighs. Yeah. And he slowed him down, and our defense was there to make a tackle. But I was like, man, Quincy, you usually get those, dude.
Yeah. That was crazy. I mean, like, if he would have stuck that, oh, dude, that's a all-time linebacker type play right there. That's some real shit. Play. Exactly.
It was a Micah Parsons type play. It was awesome. But as his career progresses and as he continues to play and get coached up, he'll make those tackles more times than he won't.
I agree. And
I think that I'm so glad that we locked him up. We paid him. We paid his brother. Now we need to pay Bryce Huff. There's so many Bryces and Bryces. It's ridiculous.
I can't.
Nope. I'm gonna screw it up for the rest of the year. Don't worry. But the guy made another great play. He was in the backfield the entire game, and Bryce Huff is proving that he's an elite pass rusher. Yeah. And we're not, if we're going to tag Mekhi Becton, we're not going to be able to tag Bryce Huff, and we need him. Like, he has to get paid. We cannot allow a guy who is an undrafted free agent, a steal by our front office. The Jets, in my entire lifetime, I have always said my entire lifetime, why is it all these teams can find these diamonds in the rough, these 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks, these undrafted guys that show up and become all pro, perennial Pro Bowlers and are stars in the league? Why can every team in the league find a guy like that? And the Jets, my entire lifetime, have never had a guy like that. Never. Where we're like, holy, this guy is one of the best guys in the league, and he was a 3rd round, 5th round pick. It's never happened. The Jets don't do it ever. And we have a guy for once in our lifetime who's an all-pro pass rusher in the conversation with Micah Parsons and Aaron Donald as best pass rushers in the league. And we need to pay him. It needs to be done.
We have 3 of them. Yes. Michael Carter II, Bryce Huff, Quincy Williams. Yep. Late round draft picks or undrafted. Yep. And they are all Pro Bowl material. If there was a Pro Bowl slot for a nickel,
Brees Hall's a 5th round pick, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's...
Or Bryce Hall, I'm sorry. Bryce Hall, our quarterback. I know, it's so many. So Bryce, Hall, Carter, like Willis. It's ridiculous. But no, you're absolutely right. We have a ton of guys that are top end players at their position, and they're late round picks. So we paid Quincy. Michael Carter, is he still on his rookie deal?
This is his 3rd year, I guess now, right?
So we got him for one more year. So we're gonna have to pay him not this year, coming up next year. I wouldn't mind paying him early, but. A must sign is Bryce Huff. He is an elite pass rusher. He is one of the best in football, in my opinion. Even J.J. Watt is talking about how good he is, and J.J. Watt is an all-time great. So pay this man. Let's lock it up. He's being public about it now. He's speaking up. He's been asked about it, and he's like, nope, they haven't come to me or talked to me about it at all. I don't like that. I don't mind waiting to the end of the season to sign him, but at least touch base. Like, hey, listen, we want to sign you. We're in contact with your agent, but we want you to focus on this year, and we'll take care of you at the end of the season. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least let him know. At least talk to the guy, because the guy deserves everything that he's about to get. You know, he's. I didn't expect the Jets to have to pay a top tier pass rusher. We're now going to have to.
Yeah, and it's worth it. I think it's worth every penny, man. It's worth every penny. And as long as he wants to be here, you know, he could take a little bit. Maybe we can get a little bit of a discount. That's kind of best case scenario, just because we're going to have a lot of guys to pay in the next coming years.
Yes.
But I think you make him a priority because he's changing the game. He's complementing the rest of the D-line so well. JJ's having a career year. Our interior line, Jefferson, is having a career year.
Yep.
Quinnen has a ton of pressures. Like, I know he doesn't have the sack numbers, but he's getting up there.
Double and triple team, dude.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think he's a serious contributor and a complimentary guy to everyone else, as well as someone who's going to change the game for you. So I think you pay him. You keep this defensive line strong. You let them continue to feed each other, and we should have a dynasty defense, dude. There's no reason why we shouldn't.
We locked up Quincy. We locked up Quinnen. JJ is still in his rookie deal he's a first round pick, so he's got a fifth year option. So we got him for 3 more years before we have to pay for him. A lot of these guys, JFM just got paid. A lot of these guys are already locked up. So I haven't looked exactly at who needs to get paid in this off season on our team, but just off the top of my head, Bryce Huff needs to be priority number 1 of guys that we sign that are currently on the roster. Priority number 1 as for guys that we sign, and I don't think it should be even a competition. I can't, like Sauce. We have another 3 years. We got DJ Reed locked up for another 2 years. Mosley's locked up for another year, I believe.
I'm not sure,
but I'm not sure if we're going to keep him. And if we do, we're going to get him at a discount, I guarantee, because it's his last contract that he's getting. Yeah. You're not going to have to pay him what you paid him that McCagnon contract that we paid him.
No, agreed.
So Bryce Huff needs to be priority number 1. We need to pay him, and I really think if we do, our defense is going to be great for years to come, and even after Aaron Rodgers leaves the team. So I'm excited for this week's game this Sunday. We didn't talk about it at all, except for a little bit at the beginning. So I don't know if you want to touch on that before we touch on the fight, but. I am excited for Sunday. We match up great against the Chargers. I think
it's Monday night.
Oh, it is Monday night. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
Monday night.
It is a Monday night. Yeah, we're Monday night. Then we're Sunday night against the Raiders, which I'll be at. Let's go. Anybody that's watching that's going to be at the Jets-Raiders game in Vegas, let me know. I'll be there. And then the following week we have the Dolphins. The following week we have the Bills, and then the week after that is the Dolphins on Friday night. First ever Friday night Black Friday game, which is very weird. I don't know how I feel about it.
Fuck it. Let's make it a tradition of winning.
I hope the Jets, if they're going to make it a tradition, I hope the Jets are a team that plays every Black Friday. That'd be great. But this weekend is a must-win. We need to shut down the Chargers. We match up very well. Our defense should put pressure on Herbert. We should be able to shut down Keenan Allen with our cornerbacks, and our offense should be able to move the ball against the Chargers. This is by far the worst defense that we faced this year. It's not even close. They cannot stop a nosebleed. Bosa is going to get some, but other than that, they don't really have, and Khalil Mack will get some, but other than that, they don't really have much. So if we can get the running game going with Breece Hall, we can get some screens going, get Garrett Wilson some touches, because he should be able to get open. We should be able to score some points this game. If we cannot score points against this Chargers defense, pack it in, boys. The season's over, because we're not scoring on anybody. This is maybe the worst defense in football. So we need to score points this weekend. I'm excited for Monday night game, prime time. I don't want to be looking at if this game against the Giants was prime time, Eric. Do you know how embarrassing that would be?
Yeah, it's embarrassing now. You hear it all in the media regardless. So
100%.
You're always gonna get that.
If the entire world was watching that game, it'd be ridiculous. Like, at least the other primetime games that we were in, like, they were exciting, fun games to watch. That game was not fun to watch, and nobody would enjoy watching that. So I don't want to hear it from everybody in the media talking about how the Jets are a terrible offense because we couldn't score any points. We need to score points. We should win. The Jets should score, not just score points. We should score close to 30 points, in my opinion.
Yeah, we have to. Now this is a big game for Hackett. He's under scrutiny. I mean, he's been under scrutiny, but now it's going to come to a head because we're in the middle of our playoff run right here.
Yes.
Like we're in the middle of we have to make a run if we want to make it to the playoffs. If we want to contend for the division, we got to knock out these games with some momentum going into Buffalo. So you got to expect Hackett to make the adjustments. You got to expect Zach to play clean. You got to expect our makeshift line to figure it out, and we got to establish the run game again. But we got to start clicking on offense. I'm confident in the defense, confident in the special teams.
Yes.
Offense got to come together. Now, even if we win and it's a stinker, we're going to be in the same position we're in right here, where it's like we got to get the offense going. Zach's not the guy. Hackett sucks. So they got to turn the corner.
This is the defense to do it. Like the Chargers are atrocious on defense. They literally, I think, are the worst defense in football. So we have to score points, a ton of points. If we're able to score on the Eagles, if we're able to score on the Chiefs, we should be able to score on the Chargers. And this is the get right week. We're now past the bye week. We're now looking at the tape from the Giants game, saying this is what we did wrong. This is what we need to do better, and we need to make those adjustments going into this Chargers game on the momentum of a win. That's very big, the momentum of a win. The last thing I want to touch on, Eric, is this Ngannou Tyson Fury fight, which Saturday afternoon I was watching college football, and I really didn't have any interest in watching the fight. I really didn't. I had no interest whatsoever. I was like, man, this is going to be a clinic by Tyson Fury on Ngannou, because it's not like Ngannou, was the greatest striker in MMA. Like he had some good striking. It was just really he was a very, very powerful striker. He can land one punch and win a fight in any fight, and that was the same going into this fight with Tyson Fury. But he never went against a guy who has the boxing acumen and skill that Tyson Fury has. Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, Ngannou surprised the entire world.
Yep, absolutely. But he's been training in boxing now for 4 or 5 months, something like that. And after his first Stipe loss, you saw how good he can get. You saw him make adjustments. You saw him fight better in action. You saw him get more comfortable on his feet, make the proper decisions. He fights a guy who's known as a striker. He goes to takedowns. I wasn't confident that this would happen, but I'm not surprised. Ngannou's chin is unbelievable. They're using boxing gloves.
I didn't think he'd get knocked out, but I thought it would be just a master class of just pure boxing. Like I thought Tyson was going to do what he does and sit in the corner with his hands on the ropes, dancing and while he's Ngannou's just taking these swings and Tyson Fury's just getting his head movement going, because that's what he does to the best boxers in the world. Like you look at a guy like Deontay Wilder, who is a boxer version of Francis Ngannou, like almost identical body type, almost punching power, etc. I would pick Deontay Wilder over Ngannou 10 times out of 10 if they were matching up without seeing this fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So knowing that going into the fight, I was like, man, he's got a puncher's chance, but so did Deontay Wilder, who's a much more skilled boxer in my opinion.
Yeah.
And Francis Ngannou looked phenomenal. I think he not only got the knockdown in the third round, which shocked the world, but he won multiple rounds. 4, if not 5 rounds. He won in that fight. Yeah,
I think he looked really patient. I think he looked more skillful. He was quicker than I think Fury anticipated, so he wasn't getting completely outboxed. He did get stung a few. Fury hit him with some hard shots that probably would have dropped a lot of people. Ngannou's such a physical freak, and the elbow was pretty sweet. But Ngannou's such a physical freak. It's like he can take those shots. He won't be able to forever, but as of right now, he could take those shots and return fire with some pretty good timing on those check hooks. And it was like, it got to the point where you could see Fury was just like, all right, there's no use in trying to actually finish this guy. Let's just touch and go. And that's how the rest of the fight kind of played out. But Ngannou raised his stock, and I guarantee you he's going to get another top boxing fight somewhere in the top 10.
Run it back.
He's going to fight Usyk next, but you could do Ngannou, Anthony Joshua. Joshua will never take that fight, but you can do Ngannou, Wilder. I think that's the fight to sell.
I would love Ngannou, Wilder, 2 freak specimen athletes that just are power punchers. Somebody's going to get their head taken off. Yeah. No, I would watch that fight. Like now knowing what I know about his boxing skill, I'm in. I'm watching Francis Ngannou fights. Like that was not what I expected at all. I literally thought it was going to be a boxing clinic by Tyson Fury. And maybe he didn't train like he normally would for this fight, which is definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
Everybody and their mother didn't think there was a chance, especially after seeing all the MMA guys come over to boxing and just get annihilated by guys like Jake Paul. Annihilated. Like, I thought Anderson Silva would be the guy. Nope. Like, none of Nate Diaz. Nope. Like, they're losing to YouTubers. Like, it's embarrassing for MMA. It really is embarrassing for MMA. And then knowing, Francis, I never thought this fight should have happened. I never thought it should have been made because I thought Francis Ngannou was going to be embarrassed out there in the ring and make MMA look even worse. And I'd have to sit there and explain to all of these couch potato fight fans, these guys who think that they can. Oh, why doesn't he just stand up when he's on side control? Those guys how. Boxing is a totally different sport than MMA, and very few people. The striking in MMA is so different compared to striking in boxing, and the average fight fan has no idea the difference. They just think striking is striking. It's and you had to sit there and explain to them like, boxing is a totally different sport than MMA. Like, if you were just have MMA strikers go against boxers, they should lose every single time against true boxers.
It's different, and so the factor is heavyweight division, right? Because the heavyweight division, even besides like the true pure wrestlers, is a boxing match. You're not seeing a ton of head kicks. You'll see leg kicks, but it's like everyone knows in MMA at the heavyweight division, one guy touches the other, the fight could be over, regardless of the skill discrepancy. So it's like, as a fighter in the heavyweight division, if I'm coaching a heavyweight, you really do got to key in on his striking defense, his head movement, his footwork. And you saw that with Ngannou. You saw the footwork, you saw the head movement, you saw the shell, which is so much different now because in MMA, you can't just sit here and block, right? You're going to get kicks. They're going to sneak those little gloves through your guard. He was able to kind of block and feel him out at first. He's taking those shots. He's like, okay, I'm not in danger. Now he's starting to open up with his counters. And, in that third round, he touches him, drops him, builds his confidence. Fury goes on the back pedal, and it's just like kind of built. It was just a phenomenal fight all around, 10 rounds, up and down. It was nice. But I'd watch him again.
I'd watch him running back 100%. And I agree, but with the take on the heavyweights, but even in MMA, though, like, your stance is different because even though it's a boxing fight in MMA, you still have to worry about leg kicks. You still have to worry. You still have to worry about being taken down. So your footwork and your stance is completely different. And I think it throws off a lot of MMA guys coming into boxing.
100%.
And Francis Ngannou, I think, made the best transition of any MMA fighter. I'll give Conor credit. He looked pretty solid in the first couple rounds as far as boxing against Floyd Mayweather. But once Floyd Mayweather got his timing and his distance, that was it. He was done, and he couldn't compete. But it was an exciting fight, and I hope Francis he's 37 years old. I didn't realize how old Francis is.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he's 37, dude. And I told my girlfriend that he's 37. She's like, Tyson Fury has to be like 45. He has to be fucking 45. I'm like, he's 35.
Yeah,
he's 35. So I hope they run it back. I hope we see it again. I will be watching it much closer, and I will be definitely looking forward to that fight. I don't know if I'd rather see that, run it back, or see him fight Wilder first. I would love to see either one. Both would be really exciting to see. But the heavyweight boxing just got a lot more exciting because of Francis Ngannou, and I'm here for it.
Me too. I totally agreed. Totally agreed.
But we will be back next Monday. Maybe we'll get a show in this week, Thursday or Friday, or Thursday or Saturday.
Okay.
If you want, maybe we'll figure something out because we didn't talk much pregame. But I do think the Jets need to win. It's a must win. If we do win, we're 5-3, and the Dolphins and the Bills can lose any game going forward. They can lose to anybody. We're one game back from both of them, 1.5 from the Dolphins, and a half a game from the Bills. So the Jets need to show up. I hope we see some. Do we have any UFC fights coming up this weekend?
No, not that I know of. Nothing big, I don't think. Nothing big.
Nope, Daniel Murphy's in the chat. He missed the whole show. He's like, fuck. But it's a big victory Monday, my guy. Big victory Monday. Yeah, we got into it. We got into the show in depth. So go back. We're actually wrapping up right now. We need a big win on Monday night. I'm excited to showcase what our team is capable of doing, and I hope it's not just a showcase of our defense and our offense can get going against this really shit defense that the Chargers have. And we have another victory Monday for the 4th Monday in a row. And we will be back maybe later on this week, if not next Monday after another big. Oh, that'll be a pregame. No, we'll do our regular Monday show. It's a pregame. We're good.
True.
We're fucking good. That's why we didn't do pregame today, because we're doing a pregame next Monday.
Knew it all
next
along.
Monday. Everybody enjoyed Monday Night Football tonight. Shit game, Lions Raiders. The Lions should win. And then we play the Raiders after this. I can't wait. If you're gonna be in Las Vegas, let me fucking know. Come out to Las Vegas. Let's party. But victory Monday. Let's fucking go. See you guys next week. JETS, 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 Jets.
Victory screech!